He's gagging on his own vomit. I drive my fist into his back. He's not dying now. The force makes him cough, unblocking his airways. I did the math. Force feeding him that many tablets should have been just enough to make him sick, but not kill him. I guess he's more pathetic than I thought. Next, I take a rope and fasten it to the rafters on the ceiling. I fashion a noose out of the other end and hook it around his neck, making it painfully difficult to stand normally. But he can just about breathe if he stands on his tiptoes. Eventually, I get it right, but he doesn't seem grateful. I laugh at him, spitting in his face. He takes a ragged breath. "Let me down, you're fucking sick." That's exactly what I am. Who would have thought that Mr. Lowe would have been such a good judge of character? After an hour of watching him snort and snuffle like a farmyard pig, I let him down. After catching his breath, he tells me, My wife knows where I am. The police are going to be here any minute." So full of misguided hope. I'd already told Mrs. Lowe that I'd been taking care of her husband this afternoon, that I had a wonderful set of surprises for him. She thanked me and gave me a freshly baked apple pie for my troubles. I consulted my list. Waterboarding was next. How fun. I'd always wanted to see how that looked in real life. We spent a lovely hour with him, gargling and spluttering. "See," I tell him brightly, "it's basically backwards swimming." There's just one final thing on my list. I get to use my biggest, favourite knife for this one. I slowly trace it down the veins in his forearm, not too deep. I want him conscious. "Mr. Lowe," I start, formally. "Do you know that you've taken 6, almost 7 lives, both directly and indirectly?" He looks up at me, weak and pale. A dawning realisation starts across his face. "Sally Anderson, 9 years old when you killed her. Her mother took an overdose a year later." He starts to deny it, but I interrupt. "Timothy Castus, 8 years old when you stabbed him. His brother hanged himself just last year." He just looks at me. "Ben Wallace, 15 when you murdered him. His father drowned himself 2 years ago." He has nothing to say. Finally, "Melinda Lowe, you started beating her in her first year of your marriage. You know she slit her wrist 3 times over the course of your married life, but you've always managed to find her in time." He hangs his head, muttering something about me being a psychopath. I'm not a psychopath. He had it right the first time. Professional sicko. Maybe professional sadist. That sounds a bit better. At your service. Available to hire. For a price, of course. Discounts available, if they deserve it. Mrs. Lowe, well, she only had to pay an apple pie.